Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hunt Ready, where we're covering the gear that's going to help you guys and gals become better bow hunters and hopefully be more successful this fall. Now, today we've got a special new product announcement. You know, it seems like as years go on, we're getting more and more new product releases during this summertime months leading into hunting season. Today is no exception. We're looking at the new HR600 from the folks over at Ozonics. So if you're not familiar with Ozonics, these guys have been around for a long time. They really were the pioneers of introducing ozone into the hunting space. And ozone has a lot of different applications in the world, but in the hunting space specifically, it's used for scent control. Ozone is a known scent killer. So it can be great for things like deodorizing your gear. I use it personally on my clothing, my boots, a lot of my saddle equipment and my tree stand equipment and stuff like that to try to get odors off of the stuff that I can't just wash easily or throw in a washing machine. But where Ozonics shines is really out in the field. So it's ozone use in the field, scent elimination when you guys are out in the woods hunting. You can use this in a blind, you can use it in a tree stand or a tree saddle in my case. So that's primarily what we're going to talk about today, would be tree stand applications. Now, for those of you who don't understand how this works or why it works, the HR600, which what we're looking at here, is an ozone generator. So it's going to take air in, convert it into ozone. That ozone is going to come out the front of this machine. The way that this thing works is you mount it above your head when you're in a tree, whether you're in a stand, a saddle, or anything like that. And what's going to happen is because ozone is heavier than the air around it, the ozone is going to fall through your scent. So when you're in a tree, again, imagine that the wind is blowing from me to you. My scent that's coming off of my body, my gear, out of my mouth is blowing in this direction. I'm going to mount this unit here. As the ozone comes out, it's going to be blown in that same direction, but because of its weight, it's actually going to fall down through my scent. And what it's going to do is it's going to neutralize my scent. That way it's minimizing the amount of scent that gets out there. And if an animal does happen to get downwind, it's going to minimize the chances that that animal is going to spook because it smelled me. We all know that we can go through every possible scent control routine, from our laundry and washing our clothes, spraying down, washing our body, our deodorant, brushing our teeth, all the different things that we do. But there's still a good likelihood that if an animal gets downwind of you, it's going to smell you despite your best attempts, right? That's really where the Ozonics comes into play. One thing that people say a lot is, just hunt the wind and you don't have to worry about that. The problem is the deer don't always follow the rules. As good as we try to be at predicting where an animal is ultimately going to end up when we're hunting it, we all know that they're going to end up in spots where we didn't think they were going to be. When you get caught off guard in a moment like that, especially if it happens to be a target buck, you're going to be wishing you had something like this in the tree with you. So let's talk about the HR600, how it differs from previous Ozonics units. First thing you guys are going to notice, completely redesigned, new shape. And they did that for a very specific reason. They moved the air intake to the top of this unit, completely redesigned the fan to make it, I'm not going to say silent, but probably as close to silent as you're going to get. I think that's been one of the complaints that a lot of folks have had through the years with these units. Not so much that they were spooking animals, but you could hear them running over your head during your hunt, which tended to take a little bit away from that experience when you're out in the woods just trying to enjoy nature and you had this thing running over your head. This thing now, you don't really have to worry about that. It's virtually silent and you can't really hear it, especially if there's a little bit of wind or any other noise happening. So extremely quiet. The other thing they changed for this year is it's actually producing 20% more ozone. So you're getting more ozone out into the world to help cover and neutralize your scent out of a quieter package. So two big improvements right there. Third improvement they made for this year, which might be one of my favorites, is increased battery life. This new battery design that snaps into the bottom of this unit, you can see it's kind of long and flat, a little bit different shape than previous models. This thing will last up to 13 hours on a single charge now in standard mode, which is amazing. The previous units didn't last that long and you had to carry an extra battery with you. Stuff like that, swap it out if the battery went dead. This thing will now last you all day. When it's time to recharge, you no longer have to take the battery out and put it in a cradle. It comes with a charging cable that plugs directly into the back of the unit. So again, just a lot of changes when it comes to that. Something that they brought back from previous units that they had discontinued is going to be the work lights on the bottom of this unit. So as I turn it on, it's going to go through its startup process here. It's going to go through standard, boost, hyper boost, dry wash mode. Now it's going to trigger these lights. Now it's going to tell me I need to charge my battery. I'm only at 25%. Now it's running in standard mode. But imagine it's dark, you climb up in your tree, you put this thing up there, you turn it on and start running. Now all you got to do is hit this light and it's going to turn on, or hit this button I should say, it's going to turn on these 2 red lights. These are nice work lights so you can see what you're doing at your tree while you're getting ready in the morning. Just a handy little feature to have. You can turn your headlamp off. Just go with those red lights that probably aren't going to spook any game. As I mentioned, it's got a couple different modes. Standard mode, and then you just hit the M, which is the mode button. It's going to push it into boost mode. And then from there, hyper boost, and then dry wash, and then it's going to cycle back to standard. So standard mode is really good if you're hunting in like a ground blind or a smaller spot where your scent might be escaping those windows. You want to put it on the top of your blind to help cover the blind. They do recommend if you're hunting in a tree stand or a more open location that you run it on boost mode. And then hyper boost is going to produce maximum amount of ozone. So if you do have that buck come in and you're like, oh shoot, he's getting downwind, you can reach up, put this thing in hyper boost mode, and it's going to crank out maximum amount of ozone to help you go undetected. The other thing that I don't have with me right now is there is an optional remote control. There is also a Bluetooth app for your phone that you can control this unit from your phone. So you wouldn't have to actually reach up and hit a button, take your phone and just hit the button here, a little bit more discreet with your movement. So a couple different options for controlling this unit when you guys are in the field. So those are all the changes for this year. The mount stays the same. You've got basically a T-screw that goes in the tree. You've got this oscillating arm so that you can move the unit, face it whatever direction that it needs to be in. So that is the HR600, brand new from Ozonics. You can check them out at ozonicshunting.com. They are available for purchase now. You know, they do pack quite a hefty price tag. It's $699.99, but like I always say, if that buck of a lifetime is circling downwind of you and this thing is up in the tree and it's the difference between you spooking that deer and getting a shot, I think you guys are going to think it's well worth it. So make sure you check it out if you're interested in stepping up your scent control game.